I'm assuming that our audience can hear us. Is that
Yes.
Yes.
correct? Okay. Um, we are having a few technical difficulties because, technology is technology, and we're doing our best. Carrie has the hardest job of all of us, and he's trying to manage that. Um, but I'm going to just go ahead and kind of do a quick overview while things are happening in the background, so that we are mindful of everyone's time. My name is Nina Parikh. I'm the director of Film Mississippi, and I have been around for quite a while, not just in the office, but also I was a freelancer beforehand. So I can relate to what many of you um, manage on a daily basis. I started as a camera assistant mostly. I did a lot of different jobs, but I worked as a camera assistant for a long time. And I know that in those beginning years for myself, there was always the question of what's the difference between union and non-union? Like there's no guide that anybody hands you when you walk onto a set, and there's nobody really holding your hand, to say, this is what you do next. This is the form that you fill out. This is what this means. And so I'm hoping that what we're able to do today is offer some answers to some of your questions. I want to go back to talking about Mississippi and where we are kind of in the ecosystem of filmmaking in the Southeast. We've been fairly successful for a small state with a small rebate program. We have the other surrounding states. Most of the bigger ones are tax credits. We are a cash rebate. It's basically 25 to 35% back on whatever you spend in Mississippi. We have a total of $20 million per year, and then a separate $10 million pot for episodic, which is fairly new. And for the last 5 to 6 years, we've been maxing that out. So we are definitely at a point of maybe we're kind of at maximum growth capacity until we have more money. There are definitely projects that at the end of the fiscal year, we have to kind of push them to the next one because we run out of money. And the hope is that we're going to start building a little bit of infrastructure and more local crew. That's what Louisiana and Georgia, our friendly neighbors, have. They obviously have much bigger infrastructure than us and a deeper crew depth. And sometimes it is hard for us to crew locally when we have multiple projects on top of each other. And that's happened a couple of times where there are 5 or 6 on top of each other. So we're grateful to our neighboring states that many of you are able to come work here in Mississippi. I am going to, let me just define, we are a right to work state. So just to define that for you on a practical level, most films in this state are going to have a mixture of union and non-union members or non-members. And you ultimately can't be denied work solely for that reason, whether you're union or non-union. So just to kind of put that out there as a simple definition of what right to work means. I wish I could see everybody that's in our audience right now, because I'd say, give me a show of hands of who's union or non-union, or don't know and just have no clue of what any of that is. But I'm going to pass the baton to Ryan. Ryan is our production and workforce manager. Also, I want to just point out that Leigh Trifley from our office is also here, and she manages the incentive program as well as all the office management. And then Carrie Miller, who manages all of our marketing efforts, and he is the man behind the Zoom or behind the Teams right now, struggling to make it work properly. Thank you, Carrie, for taking all the stress for all of us. I'm going to pass to Ryan. Ryan is our production workforce manager. So many of you as crew members will encounter him. He will help you sign up in our database. And as productions try to crew up in Mississippi, when they'll be talking to the union reps, they'll be talking to our office, and most often it's going to be either Ryan or I. To you, Ryan.
Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. I want to echo Nina's comments too. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for our union reps for being here. Thanks to the local crew who are watching and filmmakers who are watching. Hopefully this is a helpful virtual meetup. We're trying to do more and more meetups. When we can't do those in person, we like to augment with virtual like this because we know everybody's so spread out. I want to thank everybody for sending in questions that did. We're going to get to those a little bit later. That's just going to help us in the being mindful of everybody's time. A lot of you had overlapping questions, as you may imagine. I've talked to our union reps about a couple of those. A lot of those questions from you were about keeping up to date on industry related events and productions, obviously productions here in the state. And if you are here on this call, then you're already one step ahead in doing that. So the best way to find out about all the information, whether it's a production coming to town, if we can share about it, crew opportunities, meetups, and things like that, or to follow us via email if you're subscribed to our newsletter, which Carrie does a great job with. If you're following us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Film Mississippi, we're constantly posting when we do events like this, and as we're allowed, posting crew calls there as well. One of the other questions that we had that we would address off the top here, somebody asked a question about scammers in casting and paying sites to get work. Do not do that. If you think something is a scam, please reach out to us. We'll do our best to help investigate that. Well, that's already happened for me. I've only been in the office almost a year full time, and that's already happened. And we were able to find out some more information and share that with the person who was being scammed. So you don't need to pay. Don't pay. So reach out to us if something feels fishy. And we had a good question about screenwriting programs, and that's something we've been discussing internally. And so we're putting our heads together about what that could look like, either offering a program or a workshop. But if you stay tuned to us via email or social, we can share information about that. But we hear you. That's a good idea, and we'll follow up on that. So just a bit run a show for this meetup. In the order on the screen, we're going to have our union reps introduce their work, who they are, what they do. We're going to have about 10 or so minutes for each rep to talk about that, some introductory kind of high level remarks, and then we're going to get into the Q&A with some of the specific questions and any other topics that the union reps might want to cover. So we're going to turn this over to IATSE. Whoever would like to speak there, we talked about one person there. So if you want to take over, we can get started. Thank you, Carrie.
Are you going to go first, Simonette?
I think she's muted. Just one second.
Hey guys.
There she is.
My name is Simonette Berry. I'm with IATSE Local 478. I don't know if we can also bring Caleb on here. He's still.
I'm here. It's just the camera on this laptop didn't work.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I had to switch laptops because of Teams.
Okay. So we are with IATSE Local 478. We represent Louisiana, Southern Mississippi, and Mobile, Alabama. So in Mississippi, our jurisdiction is just north of Jackson, all the way down to the coast. And we represent a little over 1,600 members in the film and television industry. And the crafts that we cover are everything from art department, construction, set medics, props, grip and electric. We cover many different crafts, teachers, locations, all sorts of different crafts. One of the benefits of membership, Nina was talking about the fact that it's a right to work state. And one of the cool things about being an IATSE member is the information that you get. Somebody else brought up information. We send out, as a benefit of membership, we send out production reports of the current and prepping productions. We also send out rumor boards. And these rumors are like basically collated from crew, producers that we're talking to. We have a great relationship with many different producers that come through Mississippi and continue to come back, both union and non-union, because some producers will have the budget to do a union feature. And then on the next one, they may not have the budget to do a union feature, but they still need crew or they have questions, so we keep in contact with those folks. And we have other industry contacts as well. So we're constantly tracking productions that are coming, budgeting for Mississippi, and and about to land. We also have a wealth of training opportunities for our members, and for anybody that has worked one day in a covered craft on a film set. So an IATSE covered craft, if you've worked one day in an IATSE covered craft on a film set, you can come and take classes with IATSE Local 478 for free. Many of our classes are done in New Orleans, but we are looking at offering more and more classes in other areas of our jurisdiction, including different areas of Mississippi. We also offer help with benefits. So if you have been working on productions for some time and you want help navigating your healthcare account, your pension, your annuity, which is something that the employers pay into. It's a common misconception, something that we talk to non-union folks about, and you may not be aware, but you, under a union contract, you don't pay for healthcare. It would be the employer that pays into a healthcare account for on your behalf for every day that you work in a union covered craft on a job. Other things that we do are negotiate the contracts every 3 years. That's a big part of our job, and we take in the feedback from crew members, union members, everybody that's working when we go back to the bargaining table. We also do organizing in Mississippi. So if there's a non-union production and crew calls for it, we answer that call. We love our Mississippi crew members. We have strong relationships with a lot of the crew members there, and we want to continue to meet and build relationships with more Mississippi crew members. We'd love to take any questions that you guys have. If you guys want to learn more about IATSE Local 478, you can go to our website, IATSE478.org. and learn all about us, and our contact information I think will be shared as part of this event. I'm the business agent for IATSE Local 478. Caleb, who's also on the call today, whose video isn't working, he is the assistant business agent, and we work together with a team of about 8 other people in the Local 478 office that are at your disposal as crew members.
Thanks, Simonette. Will you tell us just what exactly does the business agent do? So like if you're a crew member and you have just no idea, like are you, thanks.
Yeah, I want to know that.
Different things. We will talk to producers and answer contract questions, talk to members and crew members, union and non-union alike. So we represent you if you're working in a covered craft, whether or not you're a member. And that is part of the right to work thing. Whether or not you're a paying member of IATSE, we are advocating for you. We are answering your questions. We are there for you. So please feel free to call us. That is a big part of my job, is answering questions, looking at the contracts that you work under, and making sure everything is being done correctly. We also lead an audit team, and our audit team audits all the productions that come through. It's just a routine thing that we do to make sure that the contract was administered correctly, that you're getting your correct rate, that you're getting your kit rental, your meal penalties, all that good stuff. In addition, we are on the ground when we do organizing drives, when there's a production that the crew members are asking to be union. We're on the ground talking to members and interfacing with the producers when the time comes to help turn that show into a union show. We do a lot of a lot of outreach, a lot of communication just in general with crew and vendors. We have a lot of connections within the community that we continue to get information and share resources. And we also work very closely with the other unions and guilds. So I'm constantly talking to Peter with Local 492, who covers the northern part of the state, Jack with Local 600, Lisha Brock with SAG-AFTRA, the Teamsters. We have a good relationship with the Teamsters. We all love working together. The film industry is really an industry of unions. and it's an exciting thing to be a part of. There's many other things that business agents do that I'm probably not thinking of right now, but we do a lot, and we really enjoy working on behalf of the crew members in Mississippi.
Thanks, Simona. Peter, do you want to hop on and also like add to that? And then I think we have a couple questions that Ryan and I might throw at you. And I'm gonna go about this as if I am a baby crew member that maybe has just graduated from college, and I just don't know the difference. I just don't know. I don't know anything. So I'm gonna ask questions from that perspective when we get to that.
That's fine. Let me just. Do you want to give just a quick overview first? I'm essentially the same as Simonette, but in northern Mississippi, our jurisdiction is Mississippi north of the point where the top of Louisiana intersects with Mississippi. We also cover the state of Tennessee and the state of Kentucky and a little tiny bit of Arkansas for now. So we cover the same crafts essentially as 478. It's sound and props and art, costumes, paint, construction, electric grip, so all those crafts. And we also share the jurisdiction with 600 and other IA locals, but we cover most of the below the lines, behind the scenes crafts. We work, this is probably the same for Simonette, but we charge a fairly low amount of dues to be a member. If you work, you pay additional dues on the jobs that are covered under contract, but you don't have to pay those additional dues if you're on non-contracted jobs. And a big part of my job and the other reps' jobs is to try to get as many jobs under contract as possible, because the difference between a union job and a non-union job is the union jobs you have representation, you get payments from the employer into health insurance, again, regardless of membership. You get access to primarily good contractual rates and working conditions. And I'm going to say it again, the health benefits, which the employer pays in, and you get those whether you're a member or not. And you get the representation, as Simonette said. What we expect from members is that they try to get other members onto jobs, that they follow the contract. We want everybody to follow the contract. And they call in their work when they do it, so we know what's going on. We appreciate if everybody does that. We have the same training opportunity, or many of the same opportunities that Simonette described. A lot of our training is online because our jurisdiction is like 500 miles long. So we try to do a lot of these online classes, and we also work with other organizations that provide online training that is available 24 hours a day, pre-recorded trainings and other things. So that is a thing that you can take advantage of. I want to talk about two things. One is the insurance in a little bit of detail, which is that it really only takes about 8 to 10 days working under contract to have enough money paid in by the employer that you can start health insurance. And once you've started it, any amount the employer pays in helps to continue it. And if for some reason you have a slowdown in work for a while, you can contribute to make sure that your health insurance doesn't lapse. But for a lot of people who work regularly, it never lapses. In fact, they have extra money in there that, for example, for people who retire, any of the extra money in the health account is still usable for them for reimbursements, even if they're covered by other insurance or Medicare, for example. And I want to push back just a little bit on what's been said about right to work. From the employer's perspective, there's really no difference between working in a right to work state or in a union security state. They can still hire whoever they want. They still have to follow the union contracts if contracts are in place. For the employee, the difference is that in right to work states, the whole right to work system was designed to keep the unions from surviving. And so you can't force people to pay dues. people can become members, in any state. They can pay dues in any state, but in right to work states, they can work on jobs without paying dues. And I know that's an unpopular thing amongst my fellow reps to say, but people always think right to work means more than it does. And it really doesn't mean anything to the employer and very little to the employee. I've worked myself in union security states and right to work states. Tennessee's a right to work state, Kentucky's a right to work state, Mississippi's a right to work state, but we still put shows under contract all the time. The people who work under contract are protected by the contract. The national labor laws say that we can organize jobs in right to work and union security states alike. And often that's a big misunderstanding, which is, oh, well, here I'm in Tennessee now, we don't have to sign a contract. Well, that's just not true. You have to sign a contract if you want to have access to the best employees who are represented by the union. So that's our big sales pitch, is that you want to be represented by us because that is a sign of being an experienced professional. We accept all comers, but we want to train them to be the best crew members they can be, and then to offer them to the employers when they come in and say, here's a list of really good qualified people you can hire. And they start by looking at our list. So that's the majority of what I want to cover. And I know you've covered most all the rest of it, Simonette. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys. We're going to move on, and again, we'll come back. We have some more questions for everybody in the Q&A, but we're going to move on to SAG here. And Lisha, is that on your team? Is that?
That is me.
Okay, well, thanks. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Am I able to share my screen? I just have a few little slides I'd love to share if that's possible. If not, I'll just talk through it. But
I believe there's a share option in the top right corner of your screen.
all right. So let me get that share. Let's see if it's going to let me. Are y'all seeing the SAG? Oh, looks like you are. Okay, great. Well, hi. Thanks, everybody. So I just kind of want to quickly go through what SAG-AFTRA is and give some information on that, who we are. We are a labor union, just like everyone else here that's talking, and we are affiliated with the AFL-CIO. We represent a large variety of types of performers. I'll just say that our main mission is to protect and empower those performers, whether they're in entertainment or news, media, broadcast, things like that. We were founded a combination between Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Radio Artists before television was invented, and we merged in 2012. And that kind of impacts our history there. I just want to share that. But we have about 160,000 members worldwide. There are about 1,000 members, a little under 1,000 members in the New Orleans local. And I'm going to talk about what that covers as well. But these are just some of the different categories. We are a national union. We have 25 locals across the country. New Orleans is one, and that covers the state of Louisiana and Mississippi. And our national governance structure, we have a convention, we have a national board, of course, we have a national president. We are a completely democratically run organization by the members. No one's paid at the top. I'm paid staff, but all the members are volunteers. We have a ton of national committees. The biggest thing with the union is that you have a voice in your workplace by becoming a member of a union. And I'm going to echo a lot of what Peter said on right to work. We like to call it right to work for less. So we think it's really important that you become a member. New Orleans local has several committees that members participate. They are the ones who decide what they want to do. We have a local board that decides what the local does, and I, as the local staff person, help carry out those local board's desires, whether it's events, organizing, whatever it might be. And I also covered the Arizona-Utah local in addition to New Orleans. I'm actually based in our regional office in Dallas. But as I said, it's already mentioned, we negotiate contracts. That means, great wages. That means working conditions. We enforce those contracts, which means filing claims. We ensure there's safety on the job. If we address any safety issues that are brought up, the employer is supposed to keep you safe on the job. And we help organize employers. We process residual payments for our members and performers. healthcare, pension, as already been mentioned, are things that are part of the benefits of working a union job. And then we also talk about authorizing the use of work. I mean, that's especially important these days with AI. There's not a non-union job out there that I'm aware of that's going to protect you against AI, whereas SAG-AFTRA contracts will protect your, likeness, your voice, and that. So those are really important things. We also work with governments, local, international, state, in terms of anything that would be impactful to our members or all performers, actually, in terms of what would keep them, safe. I mean, we've been advocating for AI for a long time. Regulations around that. We also help with film incentives. We get involved with that. Child labor laws, non-compete clauses, all kinds of things like that. The Crown Act when it comes to hair. So there's been a lot of things that we advocate for. It helps all members. We have a large variety of contracts. These are just the big categories of contracts, and there's subcategories in all of these. We also have some local contracts that are only specific to our areas. Our national contracts don't change across the country, but there may be different terms that are applicable in different markets based on what's been negotiated. We also have a ton of low budget agreements, so there's really no reason that if you're interested in doing a low budget film that you can't shoot it under one of our contracts and be able to cast, our members. I wish one of our local Mississippi members, Richie, was able to be on the call. I know there were some technical difficulties, but he's a great person, that the type of person that you could cast in your projects. So, and SAG-Indy is sort of a partner of ours. They are a separate entity, but they organize and educate filmmakers about our low budget agreements. So they're a great resource. We also have a production center online that gives you information. We have a safer set number, and that's anyone can call it, cast or crew, if there's an issue on a SAG-AFTRA set that you need to bring to our attention. We have a place to report sexual harassment, the SAG-AFTRA Safe Place. We have a pamphlet on sex, nudity, and so you kind of know as a performer what is industry acceptable standards. We have anonymity in filing claims, so if something comes up, you can report that anonymously. And we're big on equity and inclusion. That's one of our strengths, is diversity. And then some of our member benefits, this card is a mark of distinction. Like I think Peter said, it's, when you have your union card, it's saying that you are an experienced professional and that you're pursuing this as a career, not just as a hobby. There is Global Rule 1, so no matter if you're in a right-to-work state, once you join SAG-AFTRA, you are expected that any other job that you work in our jurisdiction, you will make sure that employer has signed one of our agreements. And then there are lots of ways members only can participate, and that's union service. Some of the things I mentioned already, the local board, convention delegate, you can serve on committees, you can participate in our wages and working conditions. And that's where you get to come and say, hey, we don't like these terms in our contract. It's not working. Employers keep violating them, and suggest changes. I mean, it comes straight from the members. And there's solidarity events. When we had strike, we had a lot of support in New Orleans from our sister unions and also non-union folks. So those are great. And then we have local events that you can participate in. Our app gives you access to your card, production listings, just like IATSE offers those. We do as well. You can check on residual payments, look up contracts, rates, and deals and discounts. There's lots of deals and discounts. We just had our Actor Awards program on Sunday night. Hopefully some of you watched it. You as a member get to actually nominate those members, and you can be on one of the nominating committees. Those are selected randomly. And then every member gets to vote on who they want to win those awards. We have affiliate member benefits through our SAG-AFTRA Foundation that provides an enormous amount of training in addition to any local training that the local might be doing. You also have benefits, can get the benefits from the Entertainment Community Fund and Union Plus. If you're in any of these unions, those are some amazing things. You can join the SAG-AFTRA Federal Credit Union or the Actors Federal Credit Union for banking. And then, like I said, health and pension I've mentioned, and after retirement. Those are just some of them. I'm going to skip through those. All kinds of ways to stay informed. We've got website, magazine, podcasts. You can follow us locally. We have the Facebook in New Orleans, facebook.com New Orleans. And then we have a member toolkit, and that you can look for all kinds of information that you're wondering what you need to know. And then general information is just available at info@sagaftra.org. And we want you to join us. If you're eligible, you can check your eligibility online, and you can use this QR code and check that. And if you're not, and you want to learn more about how to join or what it costs to join, I'm happy to go into further details on that. So I'll stop there.
Actually, that was going to be a follow-up for us, which is, if you have like a high level 30,000 foot view of what it costs to join or the requirement to join, if you could speak to that. And then one other thing that you said in the presentation, which I think a lot of people on the call or that may watch this later would be interested in, is like what triggers that low budget agreement that you talked about? Because we do work with a lot of, as you can imagine, a lot of low budget producers. So can you talk a little bit more about that too?
$0 to $2 million. That's our low budget contract range.
Got it. Got it.
And then as far as joining, yes, let me get you that information as far as the rates and things like that. So, so we have different initiation fees across the country based on market, right? Different markets are busier than other markets, have more work opportunities. So there's an adjustment made for those. So what your initiation fee is not based on where you live, but where you have worked on one of our productions. So even if you live in Mississippi, but you're working in New York, your initiation fee to join is going to be the national rate, which is $3,060. Now, if you've only worked in Louisiana or Mississippi, and that rate is going to be $918 to join. The initiation fee is a one-time fee only. We do have payment plans that can be paid out over a 6-month period. That's internal. Or you can take advantage of initiation fee loans through the credit unions that I mentioned. And then your joining fees are also going to, in addition to the initiation fee, are going to include your base dues. Everybody pays base dues, no matter how much they work or don't work. And those base dues, and then we charge our dues on a semi-annual period. So those base dues are $120 and some change. And so that's going to be included along with your initiation fee. And then the other thing that we also charge are work dues. And again, it's half of your work dues, and it's a 1.575% of your earnings from the previous calendar year. So if you worked, maybe you earned $10,000 on union work, then you're going to be paying about $157 or whatever. And you're going to divide that in half, $78. So roughly, if you joined in the New Orleans rate and paying your initiation, your base dues, and those work dues, your total joining fees would be like $1,117. And so, or if you joined the national rate, you have the option. If you only worked in Louisiana or Mississippi, you have the option to join at the national rate if you want to go ahead and not worry about ever having to pay a step-up fee, because that is one of the things that is. If you work outside Louisiana and you go to a market with a higher initiation fee, you do have to pay that difference when you book that work. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks. We'll have some more questions too in the Q&A. I think we'd like to bring up here. I think you had the slide. Yeah, Jack, or you're with us. Would you like to?
I'm still here.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jack. A few minutes to talk about what the work that you do.
Okay. One thing I want to clarify, because it gets confusing sometimes. You have IATSE, you have SAG-AFTRA, you have Teamsters, all different unions, all completely different organizations, and they operate in very different ways. Initiation fees vary, requirements to join vary. Find the organization, the union that fits the work you're doing, and then find out the specifics for what you need. They're all different. But my name's Jack Neely. I'm the business representative for the Cinematographers Guild, IATSE Local 600 in the Southern United States. I cover all the deep South states, excluding Georgia. So Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas. The only non-South state I'm responsible for is Oklahoma. They're all right to work states. Well, You're not required to join, but there are benefits to joining. And the majority of the people with a career ambition in the camera department are interested in eventually joining Local 600. Some of the things we offer already been mentioned. Training is free to all our members. It's offered nationwide, and we'll even provide you transportation, housing if you need to attend training outside your hometown. All of that's provided at no cost to the member. We represent contracts. The majority of the stuff has already been covered. If you're interested in the specifics, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. You can call or email me, and I will get back to you. Thanks.
I have a question
Jack.
for you, Jack.
Sure.
And anybody could answer this really. And again, I'm going to ask these questions like I don't know anything at all. If I am hired as a production assistant on a movie that has a union contract, and I'm working, whatever, how many days that is, 30 days. Does that count toward anything where I could access the training?
Not for the IATSE, because you're, as a production assistant, you're not in the crafts, you're actually in the production department.
But what if I was a production assistant, say, in the art department? Does that count?
If you're covered under the
Only if
I'm
that
not art
particular
department.
job is covered.
If the work you're doing is covered craft under the IATSE, then you become eligible. But if the work you're performing is not covered under the IATSE, and you're getting your $100 a day as a PA, then you're not qualified for the training.
I'm just
You
trying
need
to
to get-
figure out the whole chicken and egg scenario. Like, how does somebody build up to that and get to that job and get the training? Simnet.
I'd love to just jump in here. So what Jack said is totally right. It depends on the kind of work you're doing. Sometimes PAs are misclassified, right? Sometimes they'll call you a PA, production will call you a PA as a way to try to save money, but you're actually doing covered craft work. If you are a costume PA, but you are doing fittings, that is covered craft work. If you are an art PA, but you're doing budgets and dealing with creative decisions, things like that, if you're doing graphic design work, then you would be doing covered craft work. So if you have questions about that stuff, definitely let us know. The other cool thing that is a recent development in the IA is if you're working on a production that's a commercial and it is under a union contract, there's a very high possibility that you will be covered under an IATSE agreement. Just recently, in the past year and a half, the Production Workers United has become another IATSE local 111, and that is specifically for PAs, line producers, and production office workers in the commercial world. So if you're working on a commercial that's a union commercial or gets flipped as a union commercial, that might be covered craft work. If you are on a feature and you're doing work that is not PA work, that is actually work that is in whatever craft you're PA, that would also be considered covered craft work. And please talk to your union rep. If not, no, regular PA days would not count towards union membership, but it does build relationships, and you can talk to the people that you're working with on set and say, hey, I saw what you're doing. I'm really interested in this craft. If you ever have any openings, if you need to bump someone up for the day, and by bump someone up, I mean pay someone in a covered craft for a day of work. If you need an extra person in that realm, then you could that could be your pathway.
Well, I'm gonna agree with all of that, and I'm just gonna add that certainly for 492, we don't have a number of days requirement to join, so anybody can join at any time. So it doesn't matter if you're working as a PA or if you're working in a covered craft, you can still join, but we can't represent you unless you're doing covered craft as defined under the contract. And the same thing would apply if you're out there and they hand you a paintbrush and you're painting, then you are a painter, you're not a PA. And if you let us know that's happened, not only will we be happy to have you join, but we will probably require the employer to consider you a covered employee and pay you the proper wages and the proper benefits. And this happens all the time.
I just want to make sure that the audience knows this, and I know all of you probably already know this, but while our office is union or non-union agnostic, we always, when there's a project that qualifies for our rebate program, that initial email that we say you've been approved, we include in that a couple different things, information. One is that we give them all of the contacts for the schools that are teaching film and media arts. And then we also give them all the contacts for every union representative so that every production has the opportunity to reach out to, emerging crew members as well as the experienced ones. And there's no question from the get-go that how do we reach these people? So we do share that with every production that is here in Mississippi and is qualified for the rebate program.
That's great. And I just want to also say something about right to work and about representing the state. We always reserve the right to try to get contracts on any show that's going. So a company could come in and they say, we're going to do a non-union movie, but that's not really their choice. It's the choice of the workers. And if the workers on that show would rather it be under contract, then they get in touch with us. And if the majority of the workers would like it to be under contract, we will make that happen. It's a big piece of what we do, particularly in states where there's a long history of non-union work. It's important to us to train the employees for what their rights are and to make sure they know that just because something announces it's a non-union show doesn't mean that it is. And certainly we've been organizing very frequently in Kentucky, and a lot of those shows come in as non-union shows, and then the crew asks us to represent them to become union shows, and we do, and they become union shows, and all the people who are on those shows are suddenly working under contract and getting health insurance, and oftentimes are having their wages increased. So that's a big piece of what we do. I would go into some details about how that happens, but I can't now because I've got to go to the airport. But I just wanted to get that information in that we do two kinds of organizing, and one is things like this where we tell people how things work and they can join, and we're happy to have them join. And the other way is that we organize producers and we get them to be covered under our umbrella. And our experience has been over the 30 years I've been doing this, that once the producer signs and they realize that it's not scary to do union work and that their employees like it, they often come back the next time and they're happy to work under contract after that. And we have many, many producers who have done that, started as non-union, have become union producers and produced many shows afterwards.
Thanks for being with us, Peter.
Yeah, thanks. Unfortunately, Mark Teamsters has had some technical difficulties trying to connect to the call. So you can see his information here. Anybody watching that would like to reach out to Teamsters, Mark's your point of contact there. So we're going to leave this slide up in case you want to capture some of these email addresses for a follow-up. If everybody here has some time, I've got a couple of questions that came through email. And I'm going to try to start with the broad, easier ones first, and then maybe we'll get down to some nitty-gritty questions. But one of the questions we had was from some of our students here, just any insight or advice you guys have for students who are trying to break into the industry relative to the work that you do with your union or just in general. Jack, I see a hand.
I would say get on set in any capacity. Don't be particular. Once you get on set, then you can start buddying up to the department you want to be working in. But you need to get on set and get yourself known. Also, too, it's an opportunity to demonstrate your work ethic. If you're doing work that you're not particularly fond of, but you're still working hard and dedicated, and you're always there when they need you, other departments will notice it, and it provide the opportunity for you to move over.
I'd like to echo that. I can't tell you how many friends I have that started as extras or PAs. And I tried to get into the industry as a trained artist. My background is as a scenic and a mold maker and a sculptor. I tried to get into the industry for like 2 years, and it took a lot of like making connections, talking to people, networking. That's also like really important, not only to get in the industry, but to continue in the industry. Like some of the jobs that you get are from the people that you work beside. And when you work beside them, know that tomorrow they may be your boss. On the next show, you may be their boss. You know, so it's important to come to work with a hustle, can-do attitude, and learn, keep an open mind, be a constant student. I continue to learn things in this industry, and I found the people who are most successful continue to have an open mind about technology, the ways to do things. And if one boss wants things done a certain way and you go on to another crew and they want things done a different way, don't tell boss number two, oh, but we do it this way. Like continue to be open, and be there for whatever skills and opportunities might come your way.
Thanks. Actually, now a miracle. We have Mark with us from Teamsters. Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Hey, I want to give you a quick recap. We're just having folks talk about, like we mentioned in the email briefly, about the work that you do, the work that Teamsters does, benefits, costs, membership, all that great stuff. If you'd like to take a few minutes and talk about that, then we could get back into our Q&A together.
How you doing? Sorry for the late entry, but been having problems with my computer trying to get on it and everything. So finally had to use my phone. So I guess this is the best option that I have. But basically, we've been in the industry for a good little while. Under the leadership of Willie Smith. I'm just recently over. I have done a couple movies. I have done a couple movies they had in Clinton that was union, and being real successful at what we're doing. But our members are always ready, eager to work, and ready to go forward. Been getting a lot of calls for about different projects that probably coming open, but nothing has sparked up yet. I know it's a lot to do with these tax credits and things of that nature, but we're looking forward to moving forward as a team. I also have with me, they're not in the room right now, but we all are doing several different things at one time right now. That's what we're doing, multitasking. So I also have my treasurer is Curtis Haynes, and also Jimmy Pinkert. He's the president for local now. It used to be Willie Smith, but we're trying to get on track and hopefully get everything started and move forward for us in the state of Mississippi. I look forward to working with everybody in this industry. So got a lot of learning to do, but I have a good team, and Willie still here with us, Nina, and he told me to tell you hi. And he came down to the hall yesterday, so we talked a good little while about the movies moving forward. So we're willing to do whatever it takes for Mississippi to get forward and get on the block.
Thanks. Can you talk about the specifics of your union, as compared to, for example, the other two here with SAG and IA? Can you talk about what sets Teamsters apart?
Well, basically what set Teamsters apart is, we have people that are willing to engage in what we're doing. We have a lot of history in the movie industry dealing with movies. So it's just the history that we have here. We have a great group of guys they're ready to move forward. Willie is teaching me things as we go. He hasn't really left me. So we're trying to move forward and make sure that we can give you all the best that we have. I think we do have a winning team, and we do have the experience to do everything we need. It's more than experience than anything for us. It's the experience that we have, and basically that's all I can say for right now.
So in terms of membership, how would somebody go about becoming a member of Teamsters? Yeah.
Well, on the movie side, Teamsters, we we basically have to have qualifications of more than at least 3 to 5 years of experience in our divisions and for the join in. But for us just joining people in, most of our people are considered through their jobs. We have UPS and ABF, things of that nature. But for the movies industry, you're gonna have to be well qualified and doing certain jobs with us. So we don't just get anybody to join in on the movie side. We get a whole lot of different experienced people that we have. So we have people we use out of New Orleans, out of Alabama if we need it. But we have our team here that can move forward as well. So we have a good experienced team, but no anyone can just join us at all.
Okay. We're going to dip back into some questions from our audience. We had already talked about students being engaged and great advice there about just get on set, be there. Can you talk about, and you may have answered this in your intros, but can you talk about mentorships relative to your union or in the broader industry, or would that be more about the training that most of you talked about in the intros?
There's a specific person that was addressed to?
Oh, just anybody. That was a cross-union question.
We do have a mentorship program in 600. We always have a lot more people applying for it than we have mentors. I would recommend applying for it and try to find your own mentor, on your own, and pursue both avenues. Find out which one pays out first.
With IATSE Local 478, we don't have a specific mentorship program. It's more working on the job and finding those people organically through work. I personally had many, different mentors on many different shows, but you find people that are willing to teach you. We also have a lot of training available to people. So, Peter mentioned online training as well. There's for the in-person training though, there's all sorts of training available, but for the in-person training, you'll meet people who you can call again and again. Your teachers can become your mentors as well. But I find that, again, getting in there and getting onto set and finding those people that you enjoy working with that might have something to teach you and fostering those relationships, that is really where you'll learn so much. In the trenches, in the thick of things, when you're doing film work, you learn a ton just by doing the work.
We've got a couple of questions that are, again, I'm going to continue this kind of cross-union approach where all of you can speak to it as you see fit. We've got a couple of questions that are specific for SAG. Alicia, if that's okay with you, I might save those for towards the end of our conversation, just in case people need to jump. But to get to all the ones that all of you could speak to, this is a fun one. What is being done to bring production back to the U.S.? So that is a hot button issue about runaway production and all these different things. So your union relative to that big issue, what's going on?
The International is working with the administration in DC to create financial incentives to keep production in the United States at the national level. At the state level, the IA is very active in supporting incentive programs through the various states. And fortunately, it sounds like we're getting a little help from our SAG members who are just tired of traveling overseas.
Yeah, I'll jump on the same thing for SAG-AFTRA, where our national union's working on with the federal legislation. We're involved with that, and we're also involved at the local level in the state.
I just dropped something in the chat. I don't know if everybody can see it, but it's a recent update from February 13th, and it shows, many of the unions and guilds meeting with John Voight and a coalition of industry stakeholders in Washington, D.C. to advocate for federal incentives. And it's something that we continue to push and continue to do. This has been an effort that started years ago, because this industry downturn has been happening for over 3 years now, to my watch, and it's hurt a lot of film and television crew members, actors, IATSE members, PAs, everybody, the vendors, everybody that's affected by film and makes their living either full time or partially from film. It has definitely affected everybody, and we are very aware of it. So we are all working together to try to turn that around and to try to not only put in place a federal incentive and a federal film office, but also to continue to, advocate for local incentives. So there's a lot of efforts on a lot of different levels to try to bring film work back to the U.S.
If I may,
Claire, yeah, go ahead, Claire. Thanks.
something I'd like to add is when you are a member of a local within the IATSE union, you have the opportunity, the wonderful benefit of participating in a committee, and lots of our locals have active political committees, and that's a wonderful opportunity for you to engage at the state level to see what film incentives are being offered and how to be a voice for that and to share your story. Like Simonette was saying, it's not just the people on set, it trickles all the way down, even to like vendors, like restaurateurs, like porta potties, like all of those things. You'd be really shocked to see how far that travels. And when you're part of a committee, you're talking about what is important to your local and your crafts, and what the unique and specific needs of your state are. Or not only that, but what does your state have to offer that's different from others around? So that's another reason why I would encourage anyone to be a member of the union and to engage politically on that level with their committees.
Thank you. Another big question, it was asked specifically, but I'm going to expand it. What are your thoughts on AI storyboards? So I'm just going to say, talk about the work that your union is doing relative to AI, or how that's impacting the work that you're doing, or, kind of where you are in that relationship.
It's a shame that Peter had to run to the airport. Peter is actually on the International Committee for AI and reviewing policies and trying to build in provisions and protections for that. This definitely is something that everyone in any industry or field should have on their radar to look out for that. Speaking specifically to storyboards, I don't represent storyboard artists, but what I can say is that it's without heart. And that's always what it's going to come back to, is the heart of storytelling, and that's really what matters, and that the human element cannot be replaced, it cannot be replicated.
Just to add on to that, a big part of our contract negotiations during these last few rounds have been protections for workers when it comes to AI. And I know with SAG, it's the same. It's very important to all of us that we not be replaced by artificial intelligence. It can be used as a tool, but that tool has to be used in a responsible way. Additionally, with the studios, at least from what I'm seeing, they're not ready to use it to replace things yet. But when it comes to storyboards, I am seeing that use. And we do need to keep a very close eye on that and make sure that that productions are abiding by the union agreements in these situations.
Something to keep in mind is, I remember very well when we shifted from 35 millimeter to digital, and there was a huge fear that it was going to cut jobs. The camera department's actually larger because it takes more people to handle all the digital computers, monitors, cables that are on set. So jobs will change. Some jobs will be lost, other jobs will be gained. That's just part of the industry. It's constantly changing.
Now some kind of role specific questions here. How can an interior designer get started as a set decorator in the film industry? Is it necessary to become a member of the union?
Say it is not necessary, but it is definitely advised. Just as someone who is from a creative field, my career took off when I joined the union. My connections multiplied 100-fold. I didn't really know anybody when I got in. I knew just the immediate crew that I had been working with. Once I became a union member, I had the names, numbers, emails, and ability to attend union meetings with people throughout the jurisdiction so that I could make those connections with other people who were doing work in the art department and who might need my skills and who might be able to serve as mentors to me, who might have advice, career advice for me, or who I might be working with on the next job. It also gave me access to training because interior design to set decoration is kind of like I was doing the job of like a muralist and a fine art sculptor, and that is different than a film painter, a film scenic painter, right? And so learning the differences and learning trying to hone your craft and stack your skills, that is what the union training will help you with, and meeting other union members on the job and getting those connections, but also getting access to that training, it really just levels up your career. And when people see that you're a union member, it also means that you're a serious professional.
And I know I'm not on camera, but I have personal experience with that exact transition as an art coordinator for over 20 years. And as Simonette said, the difference in being an interior decorator and a set decorator is vast, because the one thing that interior decorators are doing is decorating a home to live in, and set decorators are decorating to be seen by camera. So any interior decorator who has years of experience, I'd say, you've got to work on a truck first as a set dresser, learn the job from the bottom of actually working with the lead person and the decorator and the buyer to understand exactly what it is to decorate for camera. And all the considerations have to be made, including the negotiations with the camera department and lighting to make sure that the sofa you pick is the right color, that director of photography is happy with it, because their opinion is very important. Film is such a collaborative workplace, and interior decorators in general don't collaborate with anybody. They just have a customer, they take their advice, and they go and do their job. It's amazing every time a film gets made, because so many intelligent and creative people have to work together, and the unions are a big part in keeping that dialogue going and moving the communication moving throughout the process.
Thanks for that. Couple of last questions, be mindful of time before we wrap up. For our friends at SAG, do you have to switch to a union-backed agent or agency after entering SAG? I think you're muted, Lisha. Sorry. Hello? I think you're still muted. Was that, can everybody hear me okay? Is that,
I can hear you, Ryan, fine.
yeah. Lisha, can you not hear me? Okay. We could probably address that question via email and send that out if we need to. The second question we had was also for SAG. So we may have to send these around via email to get some feedback to these questions. So unfortunately, technical issues are outside of all of our control. Let's see, just double checking our questions to make sure there's not one left for everybody, but I think we're good. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today for this meetup. Like I said, we'll take the questions that we didn't get answers to those and send those out. Carrie, if you want to put the slide up for the contact info again, if people want to capture that before they log off. We can also send that around to everybody that signed up for this meetup. So again, I want to thank everybody for your wisdom, your insight, the work that you're doing for the film industry and your respective communities. And really appreciate it. And hopefully we can do this in person next time.
Thank you for having us, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, guys. Be safe.
Bye.